There's a thing happening right now. You know, private equity, BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard, and how there's really only three companies in the Western world that own everything. Well, now they're buying up utilities. And what do you think is going to happen when BlackRock buys up and Vanguard buys up your utilities? I bet that once they get a monopoly on your utilities, your price is going to go down. Probably not. So let's play the first. You don't have the updated file on this?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Misha, did you put the video at the top like I asked?
Yes, Steph did.
This is the utility one. One that I gave you was for private equity in hospitals.
Oh, okay. All right, let's play this then.
Yeah, so we're on target. All right, here we go. Get ready for your electricity bills to skyrocket. Both BlackRock and Blackstone have begun purchasing American electric companies. Here we go.
So private equity firms BlackRock and Blackstone are both in the process of acquiring their first electric utility companies. BlackRock is buying one based out of Minnesota for a little over $6 billion, and they provide services to right around 100,000 people. Blackstone is buying a utility company in New Mexico for just over $11 billion. And why is private equity starting to get into electricity companies? Well, let me share a little insight with you. PSEG, which is an electric company out of New Jersey, just reported its first quarters of 2025 to be up 47% over last year. They claim that 90% of this energy usage is from AI and data centers. Let that sink in, people. Your energy bills are going to go through the roof.
Okay, well, see, America, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, it's just a light bulb that costs $200 a day to stay on, but it's a light bulb. By the way, I've lived through something like this when private companies take over your power. So back in 2000, I lived in Los Angeles, and they had a few years earlier, they had privatized the power in the state of California, except for the city of Los Angeles. The city of Los Angeles was run by the Department of Water and Power. And why do I tell you that? Because in 2000 and 2001, there was an electricity crisis. As soon as private companies took over the power in California, there was immediately an electricity crisis. It was also known as the Western U.S. energy crisis of 2000 and 2001. And it was a period during which the U.S. state of California had a shortage of electricity supply caused by market manipulations and capped retail electricity prices. The state suffered from multiple large-scale blackouts. One of the state's largest energy companies collapsed, and the economic fallout greatly harmed then-Governor Gray Davis's standing.
Yep.
Guess what? I lived in Los Angeles at the time on Hollywood Boulevard. There was blackouts all over in Pasadena. Schools would lose power. Hospitals would lose power. The traffic lights would go out because private equity took over the power company. So what they did first was they bribed the politicians. So the politicians got bribed, and then they changed the rules and the laws. Instead of the government regulating the power, they gave it over to a private company. It was called Enron. I don't know if you remember that. Enron, all those guys went to prison, and they immediately started gouging people. You can't believe the stuff that they did to jack up their profits. So there was a drought, and delays in approval of new power plants also decreased the supply. This caused an 800% increase in wholesale prices of electricity from April 2000 to December of 2000. I'll say that again. This caused an 800% increase. So if you think if you think government doesn't work, try privatizing your power. See how well that works. So we did it in California in 2000. 800% increase in wholesale prices in 1 year. In addition, there were rolling blackouts. It affected lots of businesses dependent upon reliable supply of electricity, and it inconvenienced many retail customers. A demand-supply gap, it wasn't organic. It was created by energy companies, mainly Enron, to create artificial shortages because they don't care if you get electricity. If they can make more money having rolling blackouts and raising their rates, that's what they'll do because that's what they did immediately. Energy traders took power plants offline for maintenance during days of peak demand so they could then also increase the price. So it's supply and demand. If you reduce the supply of energy, the price of the energy goes up. So that's exactly what they did. They took power plants offline during peak times, like when it's 100 degrees and everybody's got their air conditioner on, that they would take energy plants offline. The state government also had a cap on retail electricity charges, so this market manipulation squeezed the industry's revenue margins, causing the bankruptcy of Pacific Gas and Electric Company, known as PG&E, and a near bankruptcy of Southern California Edison in early 2001. So that's why this is horrible. So again, people who I don't want the government screws up everything. Well, I lived in Los Angeles. The power was run by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Never had a blackout, never had increased rates, none of that. Why? Because the government ran it and they didn't have a profit motive. As soon as you turn over a utility to a private company with a profit motive, they're going to screw you. And that's exactly what happened. And that's exactly what's going to continue to happen. So let's go to the next slide. So there it is. Private equity is coming for public utilities. Go to the next slide. As the AI boom promises soaring electricity demand, private equity giant BlackRock is waging a scorched earth campaign with the help of suspiciously timed advocacy from labor allies and ostensible clean energy groups to acquire an electric supplier and get a slice of newfound energy profits. So everybody's corrupted, right? So you got labor allies, you got clean energy groups, everybody's got a price. BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager, and it has its tentacles in all facets of American life. The behemoth is buying up grocery brands, dental practices, apartment building, nursing homes, but the opaque industry of private equity has mostly stayed away from electric utilities, the regulated companies that supply power to homes and businesses because they often don't yield quick returns. That's changing. Last year, the BlackRock subsidiary Global Infrastructure Partners and a Canadian pension fund announced a $6.2 billion deal to buy Minnesota Power, an electric utility that serves more than 100,000 customers in northern Minnesota, including the city of Duluth. The proposal faced fierce opposition from consumer protection groups and environmental watchdogs who worried the deal would lead to massive rate hikes and hamper efforts to shift the plant to renewables, given private equity's extractive short-term business model. This spring, Blackstone, another private equity firm, announced plans to buy a major electric utility in Texas and New Mexico if regulators give them the green light. Keep going. Go to slide 11 and start reading, please.
In the wake of July ruling, several unions in states swiftly proclaimed their support for BlackRock deal. In at least one instance, union comments bear the fingerprints of an attorney working for BlackRock. Document metadata shows. What's more, in recent weeks, a litany of clean energy advocacy groups in Minnesota have lined up to support the Wall Street acquisition, prompting skepticism from other energy watchdogs. One of these groups is currently advertising a benefit event sponsored by Minnesota Power and law firm representing BlackRock in the deal. If BlackRock is successful in muscling enough support for the takeover, it could prove historic. While it's not the first instance of an electric utility being acquired by a private equity, it's the first such takeover, watchdogs say, by a global firm of this size. We're viewing this as a precedent-setting case, said Elisa Jane Schaefer, climate director.
Hang on. Can I just say,
yes.
And remember, folks, after a certain point, they're not doing it to make more money. They're doing it to take all of your money and ruin you. They were never our friends, and now they're just coming out and admitting it by their actions. And, we love those clean energy groups because the entire purpose is to launder dirty money. Thank you, Clean Energy Group. Okay, keep going.
Elisa Jean Schaefer, climate director of the Private Equity Stakeholder Project, a private equity watchdog group, which opposes the BlackRock takeover. This is a new thing, a new potential strategy. In the last several years, for most Americans, the cost to keep the lights on has spiked. Since 2022, residential electricity costs have outpaced inflation, and they show no sign of slowing. Utility watchdogs argue that privately owned utilities are at the heart of the problem. These power companies are typically regulated monopolies. Ratepayers are captive to watch electricity company serves their home. As Carly Weinman, research manager at the Utility Watchdog Energy and Policy Institute, explained to The Lever, customers do not have a choice in who they buy their electricity from. Across the country, from Maine to Arizona, movements have sprung up in the support of public power, replacing private power companies with publicly owned utilities and returning their governance to the hands of the people. But many of these movements have been stymied by the enormous political influence their private electric utilities have developed in local communities. As in Minnesota, electric utilities across the country often operate charitable foundations, which give generously to community groups and local organizations and later cash in on political goodwill along with copious lobbying to advance their agenda. Ultimately,
sounds like there's no conflict of interest there.
Nothing. No conflict
Move along,
there.
everybody. What? It's just electric utilities, operating charitable foundations and then giving generously to community groups or local organizations and then cashing in on that goodwill. That's fine. It's good. All right, keep going. Next slide.
Ultimately, the deal's final arbiter is the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. In advance of the commission's likely decision of the matter this fall, BlackRock has also been working the revolving door. Dan Lipschultz, the attorney working for BlackRock's Global Infrastructure Partners, is a former Minnesota Public Utilities Commissioner who departed in 2020 to establish his own consulting firm.
It's almost like there's a revolving door and people fleecing the taxpayers. That's weird.
Boy. Ryan Barlow, another attorney representing BlackRock, worked as a Minnesota Public Utilities Commission General Counsel until April 2024, according to this LinkedIn page, 1 month before BlackRock deal was announced. Furthermore, a staffer who worked in the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission's executive leadership, Mike Bull, worked as a consultant and policy advisor to the Minnesota Power from early 2023 to August 24 during its preliminary negotiations with BlackRock.
So let me just say to the audience, so is this the way you want to get it's all corruption. So now we're turning into a third world banana republic. That's what this is. So if you think government regulating power and electricity is bad, wait till BlackRock takes it over. Wait till again, I lived through it in California in 2000 and 2001. Rolling blackouts, 800% increases in rates. People can't get energy. Wait till you see it. So again, this is one of those there's certain things government does well. And look at the fire department, right? Could you imagine if we had private fire departments? They show up, your house is on fire. They're like, oh, you didn't pay your premium, so we're going to let your house burn down. So that's what this is. So there's certain things that government does well. This is one of those things. And but government is completely corrupted. This is a story of corruption. So you see how capitalists, people with money, can corrupt government, get control of your utilities, and then screw you. Your rates are going to go through the roof when this happens. That there's not a scenario in the world where a private equity firm takes over the delivery of your power and your rates go down and you get better service. That is not going to happen. You're going to call, if your power goes out, you're going to call them. You're going to be transferred to somebody in India. That's going to help you. This is so again, this is like a banana republic at this point. This is like a third world country. And if you don't think it's coming to your state, it's coming to your state. And I don't see Trump going to stop this. We'll see what happens. There's one more slide, right?
Opponents of the deal say they hope that the Utilities Commission can look beyond these familiar faces and scrutinize what's at stake in the potential utility sale. It's a lot of posturing, and we're seeing around this sales pitch, said Elisa Jean Schaefer, the private equity stakeholder project. But if you look at the information that we have, there's very little reason to trust that BlackRock is going to do the right thing here.
Yeah, there is there's little reason to trust that BlackRock is going to do the right thing. Yeah, I know, little reason. That's like saying there's little reason to trust that my Lucky Money Buddha bobblehead is ever going to pay for itself. So, I mean, but if you want to, feel the power of my comedy, you come see me in Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Chicago, Appleton, Wisconsin, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Louisville, and then we're going to be in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. But I wonder what people are saying in the chat. I can't wait to go after this story and see what they're saying, because there's always people, government screws up everything. Wait till you have private equity handle your energy. It is a disaster. It is an absolute disaster. It's just like when private equity take over hospitals. The reason why hospitals are understaffed, the reason why you can't get is because private equity is running them. And all they care about is profit. They don't care about service. In fact, if they can make more money by cutting you service, they do it. That's how they did it in 2000 in California. They reduced the supply of energy. They would take energy from California and they would sell it to other states. So they would decrease the amount of energy available for people in California, and then they could jack up the rates. And they didn't care. All those people ended up going to prison at Enron, by the way. I don't know if you remember that. Ken Lay. And he was friends with George Bush. And so it's been about 25 years since somebody tried this, and now they're trying it again. And it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well for Texas. It's not going to go well for Minnesota. This is a horrible idea. You want government to control your utilities instead of the good old private equity. You know, the thing that fixed the Cracker Barrel logo, Bud Light, doors on planes, and healthcare. You know what I mean? Private equity. Come see me on tour in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.